Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to this match preview for Everton's away trip to Southampton. It's been a long international break. Few things happened concerning Everton in it, none of them very good, but yeah, let's get stuck into it. Owen, have you enjoyed the international break? Is it a nice spell away from Everton?
Yeah, it was good to finish on a win last time against West Ham. I think that made it all the nicer. I think if we'd have got beat, it would have been a pretty miserable couple of weeks. But we coming back, beating West Ham at home, and now you've got Southampton, who are a winnable game. I think it's an odd ground we do particularly well at, but I think it's definitely a winnable game. They're not playing well. We're starting to come into some sort of form, some sort of consistency. Yeah, I think we're injuries aside, which aren't great, I've got to admit. I think we're in a decent place. We're no frills, are we? When we can't say we're on a European tour or nothing, but we're not in the misery depths of the whole of last season, which is something. At least I think that there's a small incremental progress going on, and I think that proves by going into a game away at Southampton and thinking, yeah, we can possibly get something.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it there. Going into the international break on a win, it made it for us. Obviously, the positivity didn't last as long as I would have liked. It was punctured a little bit when the Scotland game, but the 26th minute of the Scotland game, when one of our players of the season so far, Nathan Patterson, was getting stretchered off. But there's obviously been some good news regarding his injury. It's not a long-term or a serious one, I think. If you'd have said to me before the Scotland-Ukraine game that we were going to lose him for 4 to 5 weeks, I'd have been distraught. But then a day or two after the injury, I'd have bit your hands off for that, because people were worried. You know, as soon as you saw him on the stretcher, it looks like, it's going to be out for months. It's going to be, a bad one, etc. Obviously, never came to that. You said as well about the consistency. Like, it was nice to get our first win. I felt like, a lot of people felt like, there was signs of major improvement from last season, but it hadn't brought out in the results yet, and that was probably a quirk of how late we did the business in a transfer business. We had a lot of draws before the West Ham game that could have easily gone the other way if we'd have had a recognised striker in the team, or we've had one or two things go a bit differently for us, but we got the win. Seems like a million years ago now that the game against Arsenal was postponed due to the passing of the Queen, and that was probably, in terms of Everton's momentum, a good thing, because I'd rather play Arsenal at a different time in the season than play them right now, because they're obviously are very much on song, and I wouldn't have seen us get much out of them. But Southampton, they're one place below us in 14th. They're on the same points as us. They've won 2 games, drawn 1, where it lost 4, whereas we've only won the 1, but we've got a lot more, points in individual games. This is a big acid test for me, because I feel like even when Everton have been terrible in recent years at different times, the home games more or less have always looked after themselves, whereas the away games have been a big test of character. Obviously, the better the manager, it seems to be, we had Carlo Ancelotti, the away form improved dramatically. But outside of that anomaly, there's always been a poor away form, because there's not been the strong mentality amongst the players. Whereas now, I think if we can start picking up results, certainly if we start picking up wins on the road, that'll speak to a big change in the culture at the club and in the dressing room. So what do you think of this, of Southampton, first of all? What do you think of Southampton as a team we're going against?
The feeling that I always get with Southampton is it's always all or nothing. They'll either pick up a few wins, 4 or 5, and you think, they're not a bad team, and maybe I've underestimated them. But then you actually watch them for a month or 2 at a time, and you think, how are you in the Premier League? It's a bit of all or nothing. They've got the remnants of the best comparison I can make to this is Alan Pardew's old Newcastle's teams. You'd win 9 on the spin or lose 9 on the spin, and that's the feeling I get with Southampton. They'll be around 15th, 16th again, but they'll go on these mad runs of form, and they seem. I watched them against Villa the other week. I've never seen. I haven't seen a worse performance in a long time. It was really grim. So hopefully they bring that into the game. But they are always dangerous. I think with Ward-Prowse, they've always got a set piece threat. I think Che Adams, I quite like him. He's a good striker. But apart from that, they've got quite a number of limited younger players, and you can see that in the performances. They're quite naive. So on them, I'm actually quite confident that we can cause them issues. So for us, I think it'll all depend on how resolute we are. We could easily go 1-0 down in this game. The key is what happens then. But I think the one thing I would say about this team this season is, while I don't think it's been all singing or dancing, I do think there's a consistency in the performance from the first game to now. I don't think there's been any real shockers. I was a bit fuming after Forest, but even that, it's all a kind of much of a muchness in terms of how we're playing. So I don't expect any great highs, nor do I expect any great lows. I expect the same type of performance, and I think that can be good enough to beat Southampton.
Yeah, I'd definitely agree on your last point about the consistency in the team. I think it's been consistently good in terms of structure and defensive sort of solidity. You know, we've not looked like we're going to ship loads of goals, even in games where we've lost. We've not looked like we're going to get rolled over like we have in previous seasons. There's a togetherness, there's a bit of a strength to the team, especially in the core now, given the recruitment we've made. You know, with Drissigar Gay, Tarkowski, Cody. But there's also a consistent weakness in the sense of we don't look like a team who scores a lot of goals, and we don't look like a team who are going to create a lot of chances to score goals. Obviously, the attacking players, being Gordon, Gray, and McNeil, they don't provide a lot of opportunities for the striker now that we've got one to score. But then, that's where the strikers have got to be clinical. Neil Maupay, his finish against West Ham, it was more or less he made himself. Alex Iwobi, who's been fantastic so far, got the assist, but I don't think it was a piece of mercurial skill from Iwobi to create the chance. He just sort of sent the ball inside to Maupay, who his touch was a little not perfect, but I think if it had been perfect, it would have been worse for him, because it bobbled up and just gave him the opportunity to shoot over the defender's leg. But just on Maupay, with Calvert-Lewin likely or reportedly fit for this game, do you bring him straight back in DCL, or do you stick with the team we've got and ease him in slower?
No, Dom would be at best last half an hour. I think Dom's been out a while now, and the last time we did this, Benitez just played him for a full 90 minutes, and he was gone again for months. I don't think Lampard's the type of manager to throw all or nothing at a player and get him injured. I think he'll probably put him on for the last half an hour. And Maupay played all right last game. He got the goal. Yeah, I don't like dropping strikers who've just scored a goal. You like to see them build on it. And I think if you're going to build Maupay's confidence up, you probably have to start him again. I wouldn't be messing around with that. I think Dom for the last half an hour to hold up the ball and run the channels, maybe with a head, or just get on the end of things. But yeah, I think I wouldn't be changing that. I know we haven't been that creative or that clinical even, but I think I like to see them work into something, because the likelihood is the odds will come back into your favour at some point, and you will start to take chances and create chances. I think we're on a more positive trajectory with that than we were in the first couple of games, where we looked remarkably sort of blunt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely with you on the Maupay points. Don't drop strikers who are scoring, and especially when the alternative in question is someone who has a lot of injury problems of late. I think it'd be nice as well for just to have that genuine alternative on the bench, that attacking alternative. If you need to change the game, if you're 1-0 down or whatever, you can put Calvert-Lewin on and maybe put him up front with Maupay, or take him off for Maupay. Give the opposition something different to think about. Obviously, so you wouldn't change, other than the obviously enforced change, and barring any that we don't know about yet, you would just bring Coleman in for Patterson and stick with the same team. I mean, that's what I'd do. I'm just going to say it straight.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess around with it. I don't think he'll go three at the back. No, I'll stick with what we've been doing against West Ham and Liverpool. We looked pretty assured in them games, and I don't know. I thought we were doing okay with the sort of 5-4-1, but he probably prefers the 4-3-3. Probably, I think they're both options for us. I think if you just won a game and you don't win many of them, you try and keep as many of the variables as the same as that last win, rather than change it too much, because you get into the situation where you're just changing for change's sake, and I don't think we need to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've seen the last of 3-5-2 or 3-5-3, 3-4-3, whatever it was. The five at the back formation. I don't think he'll have that as his long term formation that he'll play every week. I think we've now sort of landed on 4-3-3, but there'll be certain games and certain scenarios where due to injury where he might change it back, but. The good teams can do that. I don't mean they can play in any formation, but they've usually got like an alternative they can switch to. Even teams who've got a three at the back philosophy from the start, you'll see them sometimes change and go to a four at the back when they need to affect the game. It's always nice to have a plan B. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we'll see it revert back to that anytime soon, even though centre backs will start coming back to fitness slowly now.
Might see it against Man City or something like that, mightn't we?
Yeah, probably. Or we went four at the back eventually against Liverpool, but we were at Goodison. I think at Anfield you might see a revert to three at the back. Just to be a little bit more, a little bit more solid. Where you're gonna be on the back foot a little bit more. But
saying that, the two home games we played 4-3-3, and we went three at the back away, so it might be a case of we might think three at the back away. I don't know, but no, I think having won, I think he'll probably stick with the same formation team as much as he can, because there's been a few injuries, hasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that the team were amazing to watch against West Ham. We didn't dominate the game or anything, but there was, I think, what the wider football sort of fandom and like the media have missed on. They're looking at results and they're looking at highlights. They're not looking at the games overall, where we as Evertonians can scrutinise and see there's been a huge improvement in overall performance and resoluteness and togetherness. The team looks like a proper team now. It doesn't mean that we're going to rip up, but they look like a proper team where you can hang your hat on and go, they're going to be in games. They're going to fight for every result. They're not going to capitulate when they concede one goal, like we did so many times last year and previously. So yeah, I'm going into this game. Hopefully, I think we'll take something from the game. I wouldn't go as far as say we'll start winning away games just yet. I'm yet to be convinced, but I think we're making positive steps because the performance against Leeds, I think, was even more telling than the game against West Ham, that showed that we've actually got a little bit of personality in the team now. So, what would your score prediction be?
I'll go 2-1 Everton. I think these are there for the taking. I think we'll nick it. I've just got a good feeling that these are in really bad form, as in the last few weeks. We're coming together to something like we know. I think this is a huge chance for us. I think we'll nick it.
I'm going to go a little bit more safe and go a 1-1. I'd like to. I think I'd take a 1-1 before the game, just because if you win your own games, enjoy your away games, you're flying. But it's not the type of game where you think we need to get out alive. I think it's one of the winnable away games. Not that we should be winning, but one of the ones we can win, because they're not a top team, and neither are we. But it's a meeting of similar bracketed teams, which can go either way. So yeah, any more you want to add, or are we done?
No, I think pretty much covered it. I think it's one of the more winnable away games in the league for us, even though we don't have a good record there.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I feel like we're onto something with the signings we've made and the way we're starting to play. I think it's going towards the right direction where we can win these games. We haven't got the right to. We have to earn the right, but I think there's more of a chance than it would have been this time last year in the game.
Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, that's it from us. We've gone for a draw and a win. So yeah, let us know what you think in the comments below. And as always, subscribe if you haven't. And thank you for watching on the Toffee Blues.